Over here. Huzzah! So it's time once again for our fan favorite ongoing segment, A Spell Too Far, where we take a Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition spell and we talk about it until we've gone far too far and nobody cares anymore and everyone has tuned out. So, tonight, Dave, you made the suggestion. Do you have it with you? Do you want to read it for us, or do you just want to have... What do you got?
It's pretty long, but it is basically telekinesis.
It is pretty long, you're correct. However... The devil's in the details. So, yeah, go ahead and read it.
All right. You gain the ability to move or manipulate creatures or objects by thought. When you cast the spell, and as your action each round for the duration, you can exert your will on one creature or object you can see within range, causing the appropriate effect below. You can affect the same target round after round, or choose a new one at any time. If you switch targets, the prior target is no longer affected by the spell. Creature. You can try to move a huge or smaller creature. Make an ability check with your spellcasting ability contested by the creature's strength check. If you win the contest, you move the creature up to 30 feet in any direction, including upward, but not beyond the range of the spell. Until the end of your next turn, the creature is restrained by your telekinetic grip. A creature lifted upward is suspended in midair. On subsequent rounds, you can use your action to attempt to maintain your telekinetic grip on the creature by repeating the contest. Object. You can move. You can try to move an object that weighs up to 1,000 pounds. If the object isn't being worn or carried, you automatically move it up to 30 feet in any direction, but not beyond the range of the spell. If an object is worn or carried by a creature, you must make an ability check with your spellcasting ability, contested by this creature's strength check. If you succeed, you pull the object away from the creature and can move it up to 30 feet in any directions, but not beyond the range of the spell. You can exert fine control on objects with your telekinetic grip, such as manipulating a simple tool, opening a door or a container, stowing or retrieving an item from an open container, or pouring the contents of a vial. One action, duration up to 10 minutes, 60 feet is the range.
5th level. So you got to be 10th level.
And it is the concentration spell. It doesn't mention it in the wiki, but it is the concentration spell if you look at the actual spell.
Yes, concentration, yes.
Right.
Yep.
Which is big, because the first thing I looked at said up to 10 minutes, but didn't say concentration. I was like, wait a minute, that would be way too powerful. Holy shit.
Right.
Okay, so yeah, what do you got? Give us why you picked this, and let's talk about it a little bit.
Well, I think the things you can do is you can really 1,000 pound moving something 1,000.
That's a lot.
It's like if you be like, oh, a bunch of guys are gonna attack. You get a giant rock that weighs 1,000 pounds and hide behind a bush and hold a rock 60 feet in the air, and they walk under it, and you drop a block on them. What defense is that? You'd probably get a dexterity save to try and move out of the way, but if you have Adam go, hey guys, over here, and they go like, we're distracted, I don't think they would get a good dex save on that. And they would get smushed. And also the manipulating of really small things, I think could be also equally as deadly, because if you move something that's like a needle, you have just manipulated a needle into someone's face.
That's right. Poisonous dart.
Poisons, all kinds of stuff. There's not clarification on, there's a few things, like I don't know, is a liquid not in a vial considered an object?
What do you, for what purpose?
Can you get 1,000 pounds of liquid? Is that considered an object?
So I don't think it would work.
Right.
Because I think you could take 1,000 pounds of a liquid in a container, but since I think you target an object, and I don't think liquid is an object.
So if I couldn't pick up water, but if I froze it, it became ice. I could pick it up.
Totally.
Yeah.
So it has to be it has to be in a solid state.
I think it just has to be an object, because then it becomes an ice block.
Right. So solid state, Dave.
Yeah. Okay.
I
good.
agree with you.
I just wanted clarification on that because I think like if guys were charging you and you managed to pick up a bunch of water and just throw it at them, there's a chance of knocking them on the ground because a big 1,000 pounds of rushing water towards you probably knocks someone on the ground. So.
Yeah, it's a pretty cool spell. It's pretty versatile, but it's one of those spells where the hesitancy on taking it is that you think that the DM won't let you do all the things you want to do that try to abuse it.
You can't think of it that way.
Give me an example.
I can give you 100 examples. Okay, everything I want to do with this spell. All right. I want to take this thing and grab someone. So I can do that. They're target a creature.
Sure.
And then I want to take that person and I want to slam them into somebody else.
That seems perfectly reasonable.
And I want it to have some effect.
Of course. That seems perfectly reasonable. I mean, they would get dex saves probably and shit, but yeah.
And I want to, like, kill Snoke with it. I want to, like, grab that lightsaber, push the button, slice him in half. Just, no problem. He's high level. Don't get me wrong. I don't want to cut him in half. Can I do that?
Okay. Also, there's this thing. It says you move something 30 feet. How long does it take you to move it 30 feet? 6 seconds?
6 seconds.
I'm going to guess
yes. That is a weird one. It's one action, so it's not your full turn, because you still have your movement and your bonus action, so it's a fraction of a round.
Right, because what I'm saying is, if you grab someone, right? Okay, I got him, and then I move him straight up 30 feet. Can I let go at the top of 30 feet? Now he has momentum, which causes him to go higher.
I think I would just stop it at 30 feet.
Okay.
Because it doesn't mention it gives momentum. I mean, you can theoretically think it doesn't give momentum because it's magic and shit.
Yeah, I don't think it would.
But it's still cool. You could still do what you're saying. Yeah, you could very easily pick them up and throw them up there and shit.
Well, because then I just start seeing, like, switching targets super quickly, like Vader and Rogue One, just like, boom, just throwing people, not even moving his hands, throwing people against walls, and then switching to the next guy and grabbing one guy and pulling him backwards.
So, hang on. The creature... So, the object can only weigh up to 1,000 pounds, but the creature can be anything.
Yeah, huge.
Yep, huge.
So it
can't be bigger than huge.
You can pick up basically an 11,000-pound T-Rex.
Yep.
Which has a strength score of 25, so plus 7, and that's against your spellcasting ability, which is generally about plus 5?
5. Yep.
So you have a pretty good chance of picking up a fucking T-Rex and doing whatever you want with them. Which is 11,000 pounds of beast.
And by the way, it sounds good it's cool to lift them up, but they also become restrained.
Right.
And restrained is actually... I looked this up because I wasn't sure what it was, and it's actually more powerful than I thought it was. In addition to them not being able to move, which is the obvious part, they get disadvantage on their attacks. They get disadvantage on their reflex saves, and you gain advantage on attacks against them.
Right.
So that alone is actually pretty huge. Like if you just grab someone, held them, so that when he tries to bite, he's got disadvantage, and meanwhile all your fucking dudes are kicking his ass because they got advantage. That's actually pretty huge.
Right.
I sort of underestimated that they are restrained, but that's actually impactful.
Yeah. Because
and you can get them out of combat by
you hold them up there and then you just cast any of your non-concentration reflex save spells or your dexterity saves. You're like lightning bolt him.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well,
have fun failing.
Well, you can't really cast another spell, unfortunately, because it does take an action to use it.
Wait, no. Once you leave them up 30 feet, that's normal. You can just keep them there, right?
Yep, you can keep them there.
No, you can keep them there as an action.
You can use your actions to attempt to maintain your telepathic grip on a creature by repeating the contest. Oh yeah, okay. So this actually takes your spellcasting out of combat too, except for bonus actions. Like you take a creature out of combat, and then you are also effectively out of combat, except for bonus actions.
It comes at a cost. It's quite expensive as far as how much it takes out of your turn, because you really can't cast other spells.
That's interesting, because I feel like at one type, like during development, that was probably a bonus action to attempt to maintain your telepathic grip, but they were like, nope, too strong.
I could see that, yeah.
Huh.
What about
you're right. It does give your allies a huge advantage. Sure.
So
And
what-
even if you were to like maintain it, I mean, if you lift them, and how much damage do you take from falling? Is it
D10.
D10s.
Yeah.
per? So 60 feet would be.
You can't go 60
Six.
feet, can you?
Yeah, you can. You can go up to its range, which is 60 feet.
But that takes 2 actions, right? Cause
it takes 2 actions.
Yeah,
Yes.
which is fine. That's not much damage at all. 60-10 over two actions.
No, it's nothing.
Um,
But it hopefully isn't doing anything to you, and meanwhile your other guys are
True.
destroying somebody. It's very situational in that. For that.
Can you lift an object and have somebody stand on that object?
Sure. It's a
Like,
Yeah.
can you
it's a
can
great
you
idea.
stand? Can you stand on that object yourself?
Sure. Why not? Be fucking cool.
So-
You'd be like Magneto kind of thing. Yeah.
So-
I think you can even lift yourself directly if you
That's
want
what I'm
to.
thinking too.
Or you
So
can have like a
what's-
floating cart that you just lift
what's
over.
the duration? 10
You
minutes.
could just have like a metal plate or something you walk around with, or
Absolutely, I think that would be great.
Let's see. 10 minutes with.
you could just float around like with your arms crossed. You can't do anything else, but you look fucking cool while you're doing it.
You could. You could.
All right. What would you say? I'm holding a sword, right? I'm using my mind to hold a sword. Can I make an attack action with that sword?
This is where the DM. This is the parts I'm talking about. That's tricky because it's.
Wait a minute. Hang on. Okay, explain. You're holding a sword, but you're not.
I'm going like a sword is in front of me, right? And the guy is like, "Ha ha! I'm gonna stab you!" And I'm like, "Ting ting ting!" Can I use that to parry? Can I use that for defense? Can I use that sword? Can I use it hold a shield to defend myself?
Okay, so let's see what it says. So you can exert fine control of objects you telegrip, such as manipulating a simple tool, opening a door, taking a showing a object, pouring contents of a vial. Doesn't really say if that's an action or not.
Well, it is your action. It does. It's one of the things you can take as an action.
Let's see. You can affect the same target round for round if you choose a new one at a time. And as your action each round for the duration, you can exert your will on one of the... Okay, yeah. So it's an action. So what would be the... You could, but what would be the point?
Okay, because if you're an Eldritch Knight, you cast a spell, you can take a melee weapon attack as an action.
Okay.
So I'm maintaining this as a spell as an action, and now I'm using the sword as a bonus action. Can I do this?
Oh, so as an Eldritch Knight, you can take an attack action as a bonus action when you cast a spell?
Yes.
Or when you maintain
After
a
you
spell?
After you use a spell, you can use a bonus action to take one weapon action.
Sure. I mean, that'd be kind
Yeah.
of cool. Yeah.
It's-
What would I be using to attack then? Would I be using my intelligence? Would I be using my strength? Would I be using whatever my main attack is?
I
Would
think
be-
I think it's a wasted spell because there are other spells that would do something similar
Right.
that are
Well,
weaker.
But I'm
I
just
would
thinking
agree.
weirdly.
Weaker
But
level.
hang on a second. Let's say instead of you're thinking of weapon, let's say he rips a Maul of the Titans away from a Titan.
Yes.
That's under 1,000 pounds, and then he wants to make an attack with it. Yeah, I think it'd be kind of cool. I think that is up to DM discretion, but I see no reason not to. And in fact,
Okay.
since you are the spell technically kind of uses your spellcasting ability, I would let the attack be with your spellcasting ability too,
Okay.
with your proficiency probably too.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Because it's like, I'm saying, like, say, Adam, you're right. I'm an Eldritch Knight. I have been disarmed. I am in chains. I am inside of a cage, right? And all of a sudden, I rip away the sword with my mind from the guard, and now I use my bonus action to
Sure.
attack the guard.
I mean, it does have somatic components, so you do need to have free hands. But
Right? Yeah, I
it's
know,
still
but I'm
cool.
basically yes.
Yeah, I think that's neat.
The one I imagine related to that in my head, I keep envisioning is fighting in sort of a woodland area with like a fallen log or something on the ground, and just like grabbing that log, which is like, let's say 20 feet long, and like swinging it through a bunch of squares with like dudes in them and just destroying them. So you basically take it, move it 33 feet right through a square with a whole bunch of people in them.
Yeah.
I would think that would be pretty cool.
Yeah, it would be neat.
Um,
I mean, I would turn it into like an area of effect rather than attacks, so people, could take some reflex to get out of the way or something. I think that would be pretty neat.
Yeah, that
What
one I
about
think is more of a reflex. Makes sense to me.
What about
But how much
taking, like,
damage would that do?
I don't know.
D6.
Big fucking log damage? I don't know. I would probably have to look up how much big fucking logs do. Like, hill giants use fucking big fucking trees to hit people, right?
Right.
It's a modified club, so it's D6
Yes.
plus
Yes,
strength.
A D6.
Right. What about taking a rope and winding it around somebody, or making a tripwire or some sort of trap with
Right,
it?
like a noose. Dude, you throw a rope and it goes like around someone's neck. And it is also that rope, you've set it up so the rope is tied to a rock, right? And you wrap the rope around the neck and then you psychically push the rock off a cliff.
I like it. I think it's fine. I mean, again, I'd probably give him some sort of deck save to get off off a fucking cliff, but it's still cool.
Absolutely. But I mean, you could do it like, what if you're just sitting there super, like, manipulative, like, silently, like, you tie it like his shoelaces together, you tie the rope around his leg, and then all of a sudden the rock goes, and he goes like, oh shit, and it just yanks him off of a...
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
that's. I actually have shoelaces in my list here. I think there's a couple pranks you can do, like just the tying shoelaces together, or like yanking someone's pants down while they're walking through the market or something.
Let me cast this 5th level spell so I can do some pranks.
Well, you can do it for 10 minutes, so it's pretty awesome.
That's true. Yeah, I mean, that's an interesting noose thing. I wonder if you could probably even, if the rope was tied to something and you manipulate it around them, and then, I don't know, raise them up. Or I'm trying to think of a way where you could actually, the rope could eventually be the thing restraining them instead of you, so you could then drop the spell. You know, you could probably think of some cool way of doing that.
Well, that you could like just actually grab the rope and lift it up, so now they're hanging.
Yep.
Good job. And then you essentially wrap it around something high.
Yeah, you could tie it around something high. Yeah, pretty much. And then you don't have to concentrate anymore, and you basically have somebody in a noose for a while. I mean, they're not out of combat completely because they're going to be able to respond and do shit, but it's still kind of neat.
I was thinking of that as the way of like a mage climbing a mountain kind of thing. Like, you get a rope, you put a loop in the bottom, put your foot in it, and then you use telekinesis to keep lifting the rope higher. And so this is kind of like standing
the
on the metal
rope's
thing.
picking you up by your foot, and you're like hanging from the rope.
Yeah, and then
upside down.
And you're leaning against the wall or something, and then eventually you can tie it to something up higher, tie it to a rock or a ledge or something, and you could actually lift a whole group of people like that.
Mm-hmm.
Under 1,000 pounds, right?
Right.
Nope, but it's as long as but the thing is, it's the rope that's under 1,000 pounds that you're manipulating.
I guess I would think that that would be cheating. Like, I think you can lift 1,000 pounds if you take like a really thin piece of metal and then load it with like 10 billion tons, and then you lift a piece of metal that. I think that it doesn't work.
No.
You know what I mean?
There'd be a break.
So,
there'd
like,
be
what
a
if we
break
make
DC on
what
the
if we
rope.
make a lever, right, and it goes under the world,
Fulcrum.
and then what we're doing is we're just making the lever long enough, so we're just pushing down with 1,000 pounds of force. Could we move the whole planet, right?
I'm going to go with no.
A long enough lever, I
A
think.
long enough lever, right? You can move the world.
Well, you know what? If you can set up the long enough lever, I'll give it to you. Maybe you move it a little bit or something. That'd be cool.
Dave, I like your water thought, because if you can manipulate water in 1,000 pound area, you can manipulate air,
Yes.
and that would be severely broken.
I mean, you can manipulate something that has water in it. That's still a lot of water, you know?
Also, what is the telekinesis? Can I...
Repel.
No, can I... Is it like something blocking something? Can I put basically like... Is it a hand? What is it? Can I squeeze
Unseen
someone's nose
force?
and mouth closed and attempt to suffocate them?
I assume it's just a force, like the Force, basically, right?
Right. Well, then can you force choke somebody?
I don't think you can, and here's why. Creatures have evolved resistance to magic, otherwise everybody would die from that stuff. It's the only explanation, because I agree, you're right, like fine manipulation, okay.
Right.
Plug your
'cause I'd
nose
be
in your
like-
mouth, alright.
Right. I'm like,
Game
see
over.
that like vein in their neck? I subtly squeeze that vein in the neck until they all of a sudden they pass out. Yeah, there's like
I think
lots
those
of
don't
things.
work from one, mechanics, and two, I'm gonna say evolution made it so that that kind of thing doesn't
Okay.
work.
Yeah, that's where you get kind of in the like broken world, right? And it's kind of an interesting thing where you need to have some sort of explanation, otherwise the spell can be broken like that.
Yes, and that's the one that like makes me sleep better at night. When I go like, why can't I break the world as a mage? I should be the best, and everybody else sucks. And I go, well, they must have evolved to,
Yes, yes. All right. Okay. Cool. Other thoughts with this? I do think it's much more versatile than I think. 10 minutes isn't a long time, but you don't really need like if Adam was saying, you don't need fly spells. You don't really need.
You can travel 3,000 feet in that time in 10 minutes, or is it 30,000?
You can go 30 feet per round for what 100 rounds. So
yeah.
Oh,
30,000.
3,000 feet.
3,000.
you can go up. You can go up a mountain really fucking fast.
Yeah.
right. So
Half a mile.
Say I have an item that casts fly on myself, so I don't have to concentrate, right? And I'm the center of the spell. Can I just keep bringing them up as high as I want, as long as they remain within 60 feet within me?
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. I think you could actually. You just manipulate an object at that point and just stand on the object.
I think he's thinking about an enemy. So like,
yes,
if you could, then you could lift an enemy and drop them a really long ways away.
Right.
But
kind of like reverse gravity, right? Or
yeah.
I mean, you basically make gravity go by, and it's like dropping people with reverse gravity.
The other thing I think that's kind of cool with the 10-minute duration, just you're saying it's not that long, but like, it is long enough. If you're moving 1,000 pounds every round, let's imagine a workhorse. So you get basically a giant shovel and you're moving dirt, and you use that to scoop up dirt. You're manipulating a giant shovel. It's pretty cool. It's like
you and your fucking wanting to use giant rakes and shovels recently. What is it? Like, no, you don't understand. I'm basically making a giant comb in the desert. It's awesome.
It's pretty awesome. That is awesome too, by the way.
We ain't found shit.
You could move 100,000 pounds. Like you could like do some serious landscaping, with that much power.
Yeah, for 10 minutes.
For 10 minutes, that's pretty impressive.
Yeah,
that's 50 tons in 10 minutes of like hard labor.
Yeah, you're right. You could completely destroy the labor market in a city. Like, I don't need laborers anymore because I could cast the spell like 8 times a day.
Damn right.
That's cool, though. But when you think about like wizards wanting to build keeps and shit, like it gets a lot easier when you can do stuff like this.
Yes. You think of crazy ass things, and you're like, oh, yeah, that's possible. Okay, so how would you do this? Say I am flying, and I hold the guy 60 feet above me, right? And then I let them go. And then I'm like, okay, ready. I'm readying my actions. So as soon as they hit 60 feet below me, I stop them. How much damage do they take?
Just from falling through the air?
Yes, but basically they're going from that. They're falling and they're instantly stopping because I'm grabbing them. Whiplash effect.
I don't know.
Interesting.
Because
I think you don't take damage unless you hit something.
Well, I'm kind of doing the whole thing of like, say someone's charging at you with a horse, right? They're like, a fucking lance, a knight is coming at you, right? And all of a sudden you go whop and stop and.
That's what I was thinking earlier too. I don't think it works that way because I think you can push things, but you can't put a barrier there. It's effectively you're putting like a 10-foot wall in front of you or something.
What if I target the horse, and so I'm manipulating the horse and I restrain the horse? Do they go flying
out? Fuck yeah, they do. I mean, come on, that's just awesome.
Yeah, so then you'd have to figure out the damage on that. So that's cool.
Yeah, that's an interesting idea though.
Or you put a rope up and they decapitate themselves.
He was decapitated.
I like the ideas of ropes and wires and stuff decapitating.
I see that.
Ryan has a shovel thing about doing manual labor. I just want to decapitate people.
Yeah.
I think it's an underused spell, though. I think nobody uses it a whole lot.
Well, what else we got for 5th level spells? Wizard spells. There's some pretty fucking powerful spells in there, right? I mean, Cone of Cold's in there, right? That's 5th level.
Yeah, Cone of Cold. So there's direct damage spells, which are hard to. So if we're talking a lot of this in combat,
right?
It's
that's
hard.
What I mean.
It's hard to justify. Like, okay, I could do 8d8.
There's even is it can you teleport other creatures? You could teleport something basically, right? Or is that not other creatures this edition? I forget.
You got the walls,
I can't
stone,
remember.
force.
Yeah, Wall of Force. I mean, that's if you wanted to talk about restraining creatures, that's fucking pretty fucking good.
Right.
But this
Cloud
one
kill.
shines in his versatility, I think, which is.
I would agree.
But
Full
it's hard to
monster.
like take that discount of like you're losing a little direct damage for versatility. But there's some one thing I think is interesting is readying. So like I
Yes.
like it versatility readying is interesting. So imagine someone is climbing something or doing something dangerous and you could ready or in response to someone like falling, you could actually catch them like as a positive thing. Like that's kind of cool. Like, hey, your friend was climbing this thing, he fell. You weren't casting telekinesis before, but you cast it. They're 60 feet from you. They fell 60 feet, and they're just in range, and you catch them. Like that's cool. Or similarly, like say someone's like throwing shit at you. You get your telekinesis up, and you get ready to like grab it in air. Can you grab an arrow? Can you grab a boulder? You know, like there's a question for you. Can I grab an arrow? You know, I'm readying.
So,
It's an
Might
object
be
that weighs less
DC
than
on it.
1,000 pounds.
yeah.
You know, that'd be pretty badass.
I think an arrow. I mean, do we have to calculate how much force it has? So if a boulder that's 200 pounds, how much force is that? Is it over 1,000 pounds of force?
Well, that's a good question. I don't know what you do there. Or maybe that's where they oppose strength checks. Like maybe the strength applies. But yeah, I would think you probably would want to account for the fact that a moving boulder is a lot harder to stop than to simply, you know.
I don't know because how do you stop acceleration? Like there's no acceleration and stuff like that. You just move something 1,000 pounds, 30 feet. It's like, is it like how
redirect
fast
it?
is it going? Is it going slow? It's like
Yeah.
acceleration means a lot. Like because if I can move 1,000 things, can I
Right.
accelerate a bucket of ball bearings, fucking 30 feet, like instantaneous, and now it's a fucking shotgun.
Well, it's not instantaneous. We know that. I mean, we
Right.
got to put a number on it, but I think it would be kind of cool. Yeah, why not? I don't think it. How much? How much force can you do? We have to do some calculations. Like how much? How much force
Blade
does it go?
barrier.
If it say it goes 30 feet in 3 seconds or whatever, how much force does
Right.
that give it? And then how much damage would that do compared to like say a bullet?
Right, exactly.
But even in
Right.
D&D, a bullet just like a slug just goes like a D10 or something. I don't know, a musket.
Right, I know.
So.
What? So in your boulder idea, could you deflect it or redirect it? Like,
So I like the boulder and the arrows. I think that you'd also might want to call for like a perception or something because it's coming pretty fast, right? So you
Or
need to be able
reflex.
to see what's coming. A reflex, reflex would be a good one. See if it's coming. You know.
I mean, especially the arrow and the
Especially
boulder. I
the
think
boulder.
you see if you're readying for it and somebody throws it, you see it.
But what if it's
The
a
arrow,
pebble
though-
the boulder and it put the boulder just before it hits you?
but
It's
with-
a pebble.
Special case. Let's not talk the special case.
That's all
I
we're
don't
doing
like-
is talking about special cases.
So by you readying, right? That's effectively turning your action into a reaction, right?
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah. Can you?
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you can cast shield as a reaction to being an arrow hitting you. You can be like, nope, sorry, I make it a shield go up.
Sure.
So then I think you should have no problem, and you don't have to even see the arrow coming.
I disagree. I think shield is a special kind of magic that happens where you readying a spell is different than shield, which is kind of. I think a shield is like almost. What's the word? Where auto.
innate.
So that
It's
you
like a
don't,
sentry. It's like a self.
you don't even know of it really. It's like
Auto
breathing.
yeah.
What's the
erotic.
fucking word for breathing where you don't have to concentrate on it?
Involuntary?
Yeah, there's like an auto something response, whereas
Sure.
you're like, holy shit, and your magic is such that if you want, at the last second, you can like bam, kind of a thing, which I think is pretty neat. That's
Yeah.
what I think of it.
I think that I agree. I like
Okay,
that.
okay.
Yeah. Dropping enemies on stopping stuff is good too. Like if you're near a cliff, you sure can noose them, throw a boulder over, or you can just throw them over.
Just throw 'em over
If
the
they're
fucking-
if there's spikes there, you can drop them on those.
I'm saying, like, just keep dropping them on people's swords.
If there's lava, go ahead. Like if there's a a slightly prickly bush and you want to irritate them, you can drop them on that. If there's poison ivy, you can make them itchy. You could drop them on all kinds of shit, which
you could
is
just
pretty cool.
like have women drop on you, like, oh no, this woman keeps dropping on me. Oh no, very slowly in a controlled manner. Yeah, I think it'd be interesting to use it as like a weapon. You use one character as a weapon against another character because you're effectively taking a character out and using it as a weapon on another character. So it'd be pretty interesting. That'd be pretty good.
That one I'd like to like explore what kind of damage that would do, because that's where it gets to be the difference between lame and good is what that does. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, I think to me, I would explore it like a giant hitting a fucking person with a tree. That's kind of around where I would start with damage because that just makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
There used to be rules too about like when a giant throws somebody at somebody, it does X amount of damage, which is basically what we're doing here.
True. There's also like some much interesting things about being able to grab something without your hands. Like if you're like you could grab something out of a fire, which is cool. Like or somewhere that you wouldn't normally stick your hands, which I think is cool.
Sure.
Like and then you grab that and you can smack people with it, but that's cool. But like maybe you even take something and you put it in a forge. Like I don't want any laborers. I'm gonna build my shit. I'm gonna move the dirt. I'm gonna put stuff in the forge with my telekinesis and take out the hot metal and slam it with my hammer with my telekinesis power. You know, like I think it's cool that you can like go places that your hands wouldn't go because they would get destroyed or something like that.
This is why there's no rules on creating like your own home and keeps and shit, because people are like, what about if I use password move earth? What about if I use telekinesis? What if you're like, fucking wizards, can we just ban them? They can only use spells in combat.
By the way, wizards can also use this to steal shit from the hardworking folk. Like if someone's got their like they're having a drink and they put their purse down for a moment, you just go yoink.
17
like,
copper for me, fucker.
But I actually think it's kind of cool from that perspective. Like sneaking up and stealing something with telekinesis is pretty cool. Or even if you just it's a disarm, so it's not super subtle, but then it's part of your getaway plan where you can be in a spot where you can escape while stealing the king's crown. That'd be pretty badass.
Yeah, no, I'm imagining keys, right? Keys off a guard's belt or something. That's cool. You could do that if they're not paying attention. You could very easily do something like that, and it's pretty neat. And the duration actually helps you because you can do it. You can cast it out of earshot and keep moving around and shit.
Yeah, and there's another one I wrote down that related to the rider that stuff that Dave brought up, like. Taking a horse out is cool, but another interesting, simpler one would be if you're getting chased or something and you just pull on the reins of pull on the reins of your pursuer. It's pretty easy.
Yeah.
Now they're turning,
Yeah.
You pull hard on the rein. The horse turns. It's just the way it works.
Yeah, I'm trying to think like, that's weird, because that's like, yeah, it's like an object that's being. I'm trying to think, would that be just a free object, or would they have some sort of contested thing because they're actually manipulating the object as well?
I think that'd be contested if they're holding it.
But let's say like the saddle strap or something on the on the side of the horse, like they're on the saddle, but they're not really using the saddle.
Yeah.
I don't know. But either way, you know what's cool is I think that Ryan, you should be more like you should be casting the spell more, and you should make it clear that you're trying to have fun with the spell and not break the game, because that's different, right? Having fun with spells
I have
is cool.
fun breaking the game.
See, that's bullshit. That's bullshit. See, you're trying to do the Dave thing of destroying or like fucking your lyrics and
right.
Like,
that
not
shit,
that
like,
far, but
I'm the 19th level god of death, and you will.
I don't. Yeah,
Fifth level spell. Done.
I don't want to destroy the game. I just want to destroy the guy who thinks he's all powerful with something simple. That's a 5th level. I'm a 9th level guy.
Right. And if it works like by the rules, that's cool. But if you have to kind of like up to DM's discretion, I think it should definitely be up to DM's discretion.
Like if you were real subtle, like you hold your little pieces of like your like telekinesis, your little tiny piece of water that is inside of a dust of dryness, right? And the guy's all like giving his monologue, I am the greatest evil. And you're like, wait for it. In his mouth. And then you crush his mouth. And now he is filled with, 1,500 square feet of fucking water.
See, that's cool.
That's actually a really good one. I like that. That I think would work.
And what you're describing is Ryan Snoke example, where I'm the biggest ever. I'll make you go around in circles. That's basically what you're describing, which I guess does happen sometime.
That Snoke's not dead. That was a fucking Force hologram, just like Luke did.
Right.
Me and Adam had a long discussion about 45 minutes last Thursday.
Regardless, any other questions on fucking telekinesis before we've gone too far?
Two more,
we've
because we've gone far enough, and now I just want to bring it too far.
Okay.
So, vehicles are amazing. You can have a boat that's like a self-driving boat and just put. Fucking cool. Like, everybody's in there, get in my boat. Let's go for a cruise, ladies. And you pull the boat around, and they're like, damn, this guy's got game. And then you're like, wait, let's lift it over this little bumpy spot of dry land. It's fucking cool. And you can do it with a cart, too. Like, just imagine it around town in your fucking, what do you call it, wagon? Your self-driving wagon. That'd be pretty funny.
You can only have, 4 women, otherwise you're going to go over 1,000 pounds.
Right. And what are you talking about? Why don't you just do the cool thing? And so, just sit here and, Ryan's all like, what's going on? I am the Kip, the great wizard, seducer of ladies. Just popping the buttons off of their clothing.
Yeah, in the bedroom, there's all kinds of stuff. That's
right.
Fine manipulation of objects.
Don't get me started on the bedroom. Don't get me started on the bedroom.
Right. Fine manipulation of objects, right.
Okay.
Well, here's a question for you. Can we do this? Does contingency work with telekinesis? Because I think that could lead to some interesting things. Anytime then you would want to use it as a reaction, you potentially could. And I read them both. It's unclear to me, but the combination is pretty interesting because it's clearly a self-targeted spell. So it sort of I think it should work. It's 5th level, so I think that counts. And then you could do things like when a boulder's coming at me, task telekinesis to divert it out of my path, or anytime an object's flying at me. And then you got a whole 10 minutes of fun with telekinesis too, where then you pull people's pants down and tie their shoelaces together. Fucking dig a giant hole, and then drive around in your little floating cart for a while.
So hang on, contingency is 5th level spells or less?
I believe so. Yeah.
How come I can't? Right? I don't see it anywhere.
The interweb seems to forget to tell you that piece.
Really? That seems weird.
Well, it says choose a spell of a lower level. Yeah, so then contingency.
Oh, yeah, lower level.
Yeah,
so there you go.
Sure, why not? Because if you can have contingency be teleport me away whenever I'm about to be hit, then why can't you do something like this?
Well, and that's a good one too. You say anytime I'm about to be hit, telekinesis myself 30 yards to the side. Whoop.
So yeah, but that only it works once, right? It happens once.
It happens once, but then you have 10 minutes of telekinesis as a bonus.
Oh, yeah.
So which may or may not be useful. You know what I mean?
No, fuck yeah. But it's almost a way of getting away with starting a game with a spell. But you do use up starting a combat with a spell already active. But but those slots are used up for that purpose. So yeah, sure, why not?
Yeah, I think it'd be cool.
It would be cool. I'm gonna start having my guys do that. Everybody's gonna have contingency fucking boulder crush you as soon as you hit them.
Look at this room. It's very interesting, and there's boulders all over the ceiling, which are tied by.
Now, whenever you guys talk about breaking the game, I use one simple rule. Would you feel unfair if I did that to you? Because if you do it to the enemy, is it okay if the enemy's like, have you heard that these fuckers are going around dropping water globes of dust of dryness into people's mouth and making them blow up? Holy shit, I should do that. And then they're going to be like, take my water globe, you son of a bitch, and jam it down your throat and stuff.
As long as it is forever known as the fucking Kipling maneuver. And then we play D&D for the next 20 years, and all of a sudden it's all like, and the guy's talking, so oh man, unleash the Kipling maneuver.
But
and
you
all of a
don't
sudden
want that. You in combat, you don't want that to happen to your guy. At the first time, you have to be like, "That's pretty cool. I remember the Kipling maneuver." But then you're dead, and you're like, "Why am I dead? This sucks."
See, that one I would think what would actually happen. It would do 5d6 points of damage, and they get very, very wet.
You're full of water? Come on, they're full of water.
No, it's in your mouth.
No, but
dude.
it would be in their mouth, and then it would like pour out of your mouth.
No, they swallow it. And then the acid slowly eats it away until in their
Well,
tummy.
that would be bad. Don't do that. You shouldn't. You could do that without a spell, though. Then telekinesis has little to do with it. Then
Right,
it's
you're
just
like, this globe right here is a berry that gives you 1,000 million women virgins. And then they're like, I love millions of virgins, and they eat it, and they're like, ha 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 ha.
Yeah. I don't see what I would want to do, which I wouldn't mind if others did, is swing logs through swaths of people.
I think you're fine with your log swinging, man.
I wanted to do some damage
Of
and look
course,
cool.
it does like a D4 plus 2, man. You're fine.
And if
Or
another
that.
wizard did that to me, I would be okay with that
Right.
because
Unless it
fucking
like
wizards,
it automatically
fifth
kills
level
you.
spells.
Sorry, you die from it. That
No.
you would probably not be okay with.
Well, yeah, that's where the 1,000-pound boulder dropping it on your head is a little bit tricky. You get reflex saves, I think, there.
Well, and I don't think you would die.
That was
You
easy.
would take a shitload of damage. And as if, I mean, that's easy because there's cave-in traps that do a lot of damage, and you just basically use that. But, you know, we probably should figure out some sort of what's going to happen when fucking people eat water globes. I have a feeling that's going to happen all the time coming up pretty soon in somebody's game.
Hey,
Yep.
I picked this because
I'll
I
come
thought
around. I'll figure something out.
You know, if we ever extend this to a magic item too far, that should be our first one is Dust of Dryness, because that fucker is apparently amazing.
It's a great, like, useless thing.
Okay.
Everyone I'm gonna have are gonna be like mutes, cultist mutes that have their lips sewn.
Lips shut.
Yeah.
We're trying to jam it up their nose. It's just not working.
right. You get it in their eyes, dude. Your eyes are all liquidy. Your eyes just shrivel up.
We're off topic. Have we explored telekinesis too far?
Absolutely.
All right, good
Yeah.
job, guys. This has been our second showing of A Spell Too Far. Thanks, guys.